The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Zekthor's crystalline form pulsed with authority. His pronouncement echoed through the vast dome. The human child carries the genetic markers. Protocol 7 Alpha must be enforced. Termination is mandatory. 7-year-old Anna sat in the observation pod, her small hands pressed against the transparent aluminum barrier. She couldn't hear the words, but she understood the pointing, the aggressive gestures from the assembled aliens. Her brown eyes were wide, not with fear, but with the peculiar resilience that human children possessed, a trait the galaxy had not yet learned to measure. Beside the pod stood Jack Badger Morrison, a grizzled freighter captain whose calloused hands rested on the plasma rifle at his hip. His weathered face, marked with scars from a dozen conflicts across the outer rim, remained impassive. But those who knew him, really knew him, could see the subtle shift in his stance, the way his jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. "The human will surrender the juvenile," Zekthor continued, his translator rendering his harmonic speech into flat, emotionless standard. "Our xenobiologists have confirmed she possesses latent psionic capabilities that exceed safe parameters. In 14 cycles, her abilities will manifest. The probability of catastrophic outcomes is 97.3%. Jack's voice cut through the chamber like a rusted blade. "That so?" The council members shifted uncomfortably. Humans were still new to the galactic stage, only 40 years since first contact. They were classified as a Category 4 species, technologically advanced but emotionally unstable, prone to irrational behavior, and disturbingly difficult to predict. Captain Morrison, Counselor Vreen, an insectoid thoraxian, clicked her mandibles nervously. "This is not personal. This is mathematics. The child represents an existential threat to 17 inhabited systems. We have models." "I've seen your models," Jack interrupted, taking one step forward. Just one. But something in that movement made every security drone in the chamber activate. "Ran the numbers myself on the trip here. You're basing this on the Andrax incident from 3 centuries ago. Different species, different genetic structure, different neural pathways. You're comparing apples to neutron stars." Zekthor's form flickered with irritation. "The core principles remain." "The core principles are that you're scared," Jack said flatly. "And you want to kill a kid because your probability matrices say, maybe, possibly, perhaps something bad might happen when she grows up." Ambassador Thelvos, representing the militant Kryn collective, rose from his seat. His forearms spread wide in a gesture of reasoned authority. "Captain, we understand human attachment to offspring, but logic must prevail. One life measured against billions, over my body." The words were quiet, conversational even, but they carried the weight of an asteroid strike. Jack's hand didn't move toward his weapon. He didn't need to. His eyes, those cold, gray human eyes that had seen entire fleets burn in the Proxima War, locked onto each council member in turn. "You want Anna? You go through me. And before you start calculating those odds, let me save you some processing power." He smiled, and it was not a pleasant expression. "You won't." "Captain Morrison," Zekthor's voice took on a dangerous harmonic, "you are one human. We have 4,000 security drones in this facility alone. We have ships in orbit. You have reports," Jack said. "Reports about what happens when you threaten human children. I know you've read them. I know you've studied Earth's history. We're not the strongest species. Not the smartest. Not the fastest," he paused. "But we're the ones who invented the word berserk. We're the ones who have 47 different words for revenge in our major languages. We're the species that domesticated wolves by feeding them scraps and turned them into creatures that love us more than themselves." Anna watched through the barrier, not understanding the words but recognizing Jack's protective stance. She'd been with him for 6 months, ever since her colony transport was destroyed by raiders. He'd found her in the wreckage, the only survivor, and hadn't hesitated. Just scooped her up and said, "All right, kiddo. Let's get you somewhere safe." Counselor Vreen tried a different approach. "Captain, we can offer compensation. Your species values currency. We can—" "Stop talking." The chamber went quiet again. Jack's voice dropped lower, taking on a quality that made the translator unit struggle to convey the undertones. "That little girl in there? She likes drawing pictures of stars. She hums when she's working on puzzles. She laughs at my terrible jokes. Last week she asked me what my favorite color was. 7 years old, and she wanted to know my favorite color." He took another step forward. Security drones whirred, targeting lasers painting his chest. So here's what's going to happen. Anna and I are walking out of here. We're getting on my ship, and we're leaving. Anyone who tries to stop us will learn a very important lesson about human biology. And what lesson is that? Zekthor challenged. Jack's smile widened, showing teeth. That we don't have a fight-or-flight response. We have a fight-or-fight-harder response. And when you threaten our kids? He tapped his chest right over his heart. We don't calculate odds. We don't run simulations. We don't weigh probabilities. We just start breaking things until the threat stops existing. The silence stretched. Calculations were being run. Models were being consulted. The council was discovering what humans had known for millennia. Sometimes the most dangerous creature isn't the biggest or the strongest. It's the one with absolutely nothing to lose and everything to protect. Finally, Counselor Vreen spoke, her voice carefully neutral. Captain Morrison, if we allow this, the child must be monitored. Regular reports. Psionic dampeners until we can— No dampeners. Reports every 6 months, medical checkups only, and I picked the doctors. Non-negotiable. The council members exchanged glances, or their species equivalent. Zekthor's crystalline form pulsed with barely suppressed fury. But even he could read the tactical situation. One human with a plasma rifle wasn't the threat. The threat was what would happen if word got back to Earth that the council had executed a human child. Humans were already considered dangerously unpredictable. Add grief and rage to that equation. Agreed, Vreen said quickly before Zekthor could object. The child may leave. But Captain Morrison, if she becomes a threat, then I'll handle it, Jack said. Because that's what we do. We protect our own, even from ourselves. He walked to the observation pod, keyed in his code, and the barrier dissolved. Anna looked up at him with those trusting brown eyes. Are we going home, Jack? Yeah, kiddo, he said, lifting her onto his shoulders like she weighed nothing. We're going home. As they walked out of the chamber, past the nervous security drones and the calculating council members, Anna waved goodbye to the aliens. Some of them tentatively waved back. The Badger had growled and the Galaxy had blinked first. Later, in his ship's cockpit as they cleared the station's gravity well, Anna asked, Jack, were you really going to fight all those aliens? He looked at her reflection in the view screen, thought about lying, then decided she deserved the truth. Every single one, Anna. Every single one. She considered this, then smiled and went back to her coloring book, drawing stars in impossible colors. Behind them, the council convened an emergency session to discuss human irrationality and emotional decision-making paradigms. They would write papers about it. They would model it. They would try to understand it. They never would, because humanity's greatest strength wasn't something you could quantify or predict. It was simpler and more terrifying than any equation. When you threatened their children, humans didn't ask what the odds were. They just asked how many they had to go through to keep them safe. And the answer was always the same, all of them.